All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Rugby Scoop Podcast, Champagne and Boerewors Rugby's greatest rivalry, where we talk about South African rugby, the Springboks, the All Blacks, the Wallabies, and everything in between. And there's no shortage of things to talk about that has happened or taken place over the past week. Springboks have come away from Buenos Aires with a 17-10 win over Argentina. But this certainly wasn't one of those comfortable victories many South Africans might have expected. Obviously, a bit of rust here and there. Kolisi, another hamstring concern. Questions are being asked about the number 8 jersey again. I mean that's pretty standard. There should be no debate about the number 8 jersey. Rassie Erasmus already talking about the World Cup. Meanwhile, the All Blacks have arrived in South Africa. They've already taken down the Stormers, and suddenly the temperature around rugby's greatest rivalry is rising again. We're going to get stuck in, myself and Vickers Miranda. Vickers, how are you doing?
Very good, brother. Yeah, very good. It was a humding on Friday, and then obviously late last night was also pretty interesting. Got a lot to discuss, but from my side, I think the excitement has now kicked in. New passport, new name, new home office, what.
Fair enough. We're going to start off with the Springboks, obviously, and Argentina, and then we'll move to Cape Town, where the All Blacks took on the Stormers, and we'll dissect the new team that has been named by Dave Rennie as well. We know that Billy Proctor is going back to New Zealand. Who will be his replacement? Oh, interesting stuff. Anyway, Vickers, myself and you, we're going to get stuck into it, the nitty-gritty, the details around every single thing that took place yesterday with the Springboks and Argentina. I know you already said in the WhatsApp group, Boks look very, very rusty. But 17-10 for the longest time. I don't think we've seen the Springboks scoreless for about 37 to 38 minutes of the first half in the past, 18 months or so, for them to be held to a 3-point game, right? Only 3 points for 37 minutes of that game. What do you make of that, first and foremost?
Yeah, look, I'll be honest, brother. I think the factor that, if you notice that most of those players haven't played, I'm not even going to talk about the cohesion together. They haven't played rugby, international rugby, in such a long time. So for me, it was a matter of, I knew they were going to be rusty. I knew that they're going to have a situation where they're going to have to dig deep. We know that they were going to have the situation where they were going to deep as a team, but it was just not there, man. They were just not clicking. I think, look, the coaching staff, I think Rassie said it very easy. A win is a win. They'll take this, but they'll swash it. I don't think they'll do. Yes, there'll be a small review in terms of the small things. The scrums, they didn't get the scrums. They didn't get the purchase on the scrums, so they'll look at that. They didn't get much purchase on the driving maul, so they'll look at that. But in terms of just the general game, I think it was just not good enough. Again, we always talk about, in this pod, we always talk about the box kick of the 9s and what.
And the 10.
You look, yesterday, again, it shows, with just a little bit of wind coming from one side, changes everything for the Boks. So they were talking, halftime, they were talking about how the wind has affected the box kicks have been pushed too far. And then the second half, they were not talking the same thing, but they were talking about the boxes are just not far enough. So all of those things come into factor. And this is why in rugby you don't base your game plan around things that are uncontrollable. So so again, it was for me, it wasn't a good showing in terms of those small things that the Boks do very well, which is scrumming.
Very well, yeah.
Yeah, which is scrumming, line out, the box kicks. They were not there.
Yeah.
The worrying factor, Scoop. Sorry,
Okay.
the worrying factor, Scoop, is that you have a fly half who is top class. The kid is young, but you can see he's got what it takes. He takes a lot of contact. Every time he takes contact, I'm biting my teeth. Is he going to get up? Because he's your key player, like he's your main driver in the team. So if he's taking a lot of contact, you almost like feel worried for him because you know that he's injury prone, you know that he's young. So it's all those factors coming through. But again, like I said, Argentina came out yesterday. They tried to fight the fight, but we weren't expecting anything from them. I think like for us as coaches, we looked at that as a trial run for them. This was more like a let's see what we can do. And I think they tried. Carreras actually, I think it was one of the top performers from the Argentinian side.
Yeah.
But other than that, we didn't see much from Argentina, but we saw a lot of from the Springboks, but not in positive way.
Fair. I mean, I was listening to Rassie. I watched the game this morning properly. I did a nice thread. I heard you talking about the kicking as well. Obviously, the conditions were not proper for the kicking game, because now you're thinking of hitting a nice contestable, but within 2 or 3 seconds, that ball is pushed a bit further by the wind, because now you need to adjust your kicking game. So they didn't maybe adjust to the conditions. Would you put that then on rustiness in terms of lack of game time? Because Kobus has been out and then he came back. I think he did play in the Nations Championship, him and Williams. So at least for his sake, I mean, I saw a few of his kicks that were not contestable. It almost felt like they were giving away possessions. And at times, some of the kicks were wayward. And I was worried. I mean, the whole first half, I've done a whole thread about the whole first half kicking game. And yes, maybe one from Edward van der Merwe that was contestable and they got a knock on, because as we've spoken about on this pod as well, the Springboks work off those scraps, especially from the kicking game and the contest in the air. So once the ball is a bit scrappy, we know it's going to be a knock on, and from that knock on, the Boks will build pressure by getting a scrum, right? And then trying to build more pressure by trying to earn a penalty in those scrums. But Argentina held their ground for most of those scrums. I think in the scrums, it was evenly balanced, 50-50. There was a first penalty against the Springboks, and then there was a penalty against Argentina, and some of the other scrums just collapsed, and the referee was telling the nine to use the ball. So I mean, in that element, when your game plan is dependent on scrappy ball from contest, kicking game and contestables in the aerial game, and then the scrum penalties were not getting along. I mean, the Mauls, when they were not getting any penalties from it's completely different from what we saw on Friday. For example, the Stormers were getting a lot of penalties from mauling against the All Blacks. But I mean, from a Springboks perspective, Rassie was talking about, we wanted to put more pressure on defense. We wanted the players to understand the noise, to understand the pressure, to get a feel of what it takes to play under pressure in these conditions. But he was alluding to World Cup pressure. He wasn't even saying that, no, I want the players to feel under pressure when they play against the All Blacks. I mean, would you say, Vickers, then, when you listen to Rassie's post-matches, he likes to talk about preparing for the World Cup, under pressure during the World Cup, in games that are close in a World Cup. I mean, would you say he's straying too far away from the greatest rivalry in terms of preparations for the players, or it's his way of not trying to put too much emphasis or maybe pressure on the players by saying we're preparing players for the greatest rivalry?
Yeah, so Scoop, if you look at it in this way, we as coaches, we don't talk about opposition. We don't want to talk about which opposition you face. Yes, I've picked a team for Wales. No, it's not picking a team for Wales. It's picking a team in the World Cup. So most of the time, coaches will talk about campaigns, not about an opposition. So the problem is that with having the greatest rivalry is that it's an opposition. It's one opposition. So he's trying to derail that to probably talking about the World Cup, so that the players themselves don't look at we playing New Zealand. They look at we are playing the 2023 World Cup finalists. We want to win. So it's a World Cup final for them. So I think for me, it's yes, it's a strategy and it's very good because mentally you're trying to dislodge the opposition factor within the players, especially when you have new players coming in the system. The biggest problem you have with new players coming in, they'll tend to respect a jersey based on the past or whatever. Whereas top coaches, top high performance systems don't respect a jersey, they respect all jerseys. So you put in your performance based on if you run on the field, you put in the performance. The team that you're playing doesn't matter. So that's basically the why I think he would have been talking about a World Cup. But besides that, like Scoop, you're talking about the purchase within South Africa. They weren't getting the purchase because their system is based on scrum penalty, kick it out, let's get a driving ball, or let's talk about let's do if you get a penalty, lucky with the penalty, then you can obviously kick for touch and then drive, get a penalty, drive it in. So the that's for me is what the Boks need to start looking at is we're not getting purchase in our I would call it the foundation to attack. What then can we do to make sure the house still stands? That's the question they should be asking themselves. Because if I was New Zealand yesterday, I would be like, oh wow. So if we can just match them in the scrums, if we've got a James Ryan who can, Jason
defend
Ryan, who's
more.
very strong at the most stop. Obviously, conceded the other day, he conceded, but he's very strong at the most stop. So if he is involved, so if we stop these two parts, what else do they have? And that's the worry that for me as a Springbok coach I would have is that okay, we now need to start thinking about life differently.
Yeah.
Again, Argentina, if you notice Argentina in those first couple of minutes, they're putting in chip kicks, like small kicks.
Yeah, over the top. Yeah, I saw that.
Because remember, the scrum of 9, because if I'm coaching 15's defense, I'm using my 9 as a sweeper.
Yeah.
South Africa
9 and 8 usually.
South Africa doesn't use 9 as a sweeper. They use the 9 to shut the blind side. So now Argentina were putting in small chips and they were getting actually purchased. They were getting purchased. They got a couple of them from there. But the thing is, obviously, it didn't materialize into something big, but they were still effective enough for them to gain a little bit of ground within the field.
Yeah, so they were trying to kill that rush defense as well. So by just chipping over, now you kind of have to second guess yourself when you rush because you don't know if the guys are going to kick or run the ball.
100%, Scoop, 100%. And I think those are worrying factors for South Africa. Look, it might, like when you win a game, sometimes you take the win, but those are the nitty-gritties that they need to look at. For me,
clean up.
Yeah, they need to clean up. They need to clean up on that because there was actually something that Scott Berger said. He said, could we see the base number 8 not being selected in the team? That is actually a big worry for me.
Wow.
Because they forgot about Jasper Wiese, what he has done. They're looking at Hanekom. And I feel like that's unfair on Jasper.
It was one of the conversations we're going to have on the lineup for today as well.
Okay. All right.
Because for me, I don't get it. I heard the question. We might as well jump into it, and then we'll discuss the injuries and Siya Kolisi. We will discuss how we saw Etzebeth show up after a long spell of not playing any footy. But I mean, I heard one of the journalists ask Rassie Erasmus about Hanekom, and I was like, what do you mean Jasper Wiese does not exist in the conversation? He's the number 1 8. He's the battering ram. He is the Springboks prolific ball carriers currently. I mean, if it's not Jasper Wiese, it's his brother, Kobus Wiese, right? Who've been very prolific in the Nations Championship when it comes to carries and dominant carries at that, right? I mean, I still haven't, even with Evan Roos and Cameron Hanekom, in terms of carry and actually getting gain line from those carries, I think Jasper Wiese is he's way better. He is 110% way better than Evan Roos and Cameron Hanekom in carries, especially in those close contact areas. Maybe further away from the traffic, maybe Hanekom might just edge. But when it comes to the physical confrontation, Jasper Wiese is Springboks number 1, number 8. There is no debate about that. Anyway, what did Skalkberger say? Because I'm really curious now.
No, he just asked the question. He popped the question, and obviously, as pundits, you will tend to avoid that direct question as if is he the number 1 or number 2 or whatever. But for me, the most important thing is very simple. Hanekom wasn't dominating his carries. He made turnovers. So he's almost like a Dwayne van Mierlen, if you can call it like that. But Dwayne had both. Dwayne had dominant carries and Dwayne had made turnovers. So Hanekom is coming with the one side of that, whereas Jasper is coming with the one side of that. Yes, Jasper is shorter than Hanekom, but for South Africa, we all know, South African number 8, their job is to dominate carries. So it's not even a brainer for me. It's very easy to say. If Jasper Wiese is available, he starts.
Yeah.
The only thing you can discuss is Hanekom good enough to sit on the bench according to obviously the Springbok selection protocol for the bench. Because
are we talking about 8-0 now? Split. There's no split whatsoever.
No,
just forwards.
No, we say no. We just talk. No, let's put it this way, Scoop. Let's put it this way. If you go with the 6-2 split, obviously then Hanekom stands a chance of being there. But if you don't go with the 6-2, if you go to 5-3, then would you rather have him on the bench instead of a Van Staden, or what? Because he is making good turnovers.
Eskom.
You could Eskom. So he's making good turnovers. Unless you're going to sacrifice Eskom to wear the jersey 16, which will accommodate Hanekom at 19 or 20. Sorry, at 20. But for me, and again, you spoke about Kobus Wiese.
Yeah.
Look, did you see how dominant his carries yesterday? And I think a lot of fans and people misunderstood what we spoke about in the pod a few weeks back when we said Jasper Wiese at this point he is better than Eben, because
Kobus Wiese, you mean?
Yeah, is it Kobus? So no, the
Kobus, yes.
Yeah. Kobus is better than Eben, because if you look at his ball carries and you go and look at Eben's ball carries, it's unmatched.
Yeah. And they're chopping Eben lately, yeah? Have you noticed?
As a
they go for his ankles, his shins.
They chop him quickly.
Yeah, and he falls immediately. He's not making those yards we expect from an Eben. Maybe he needs to work on his footwork. What would you say? Because for a guy as tall as Eben, if they're chopping him all the time, what would you teach him now to adjust his ball carries into contact?
What I've noticed between the two players is that Kobus likes to run onto the ball. So he's probably having conversations with his nines. He's running onto the ball. So it's very difficult to chop someone who's running onto the ball, because they're not standing still. They can have a body movement, a body swerve just before contact. Whereas Eben is standing still. If you notice his ball carries, he's standing still. He likes to receive the ball and then take off. So that's easier to defend. Yes, you might not get the good chop tackle, but you can still hold a leg and pull it, because he doesn't 100%. Have the momentum. And I think that's obviously, that will go down to the skills coaches. That will go down to how coaches are coaching those ball carriers, because that becomes very vital.
Would you put it on? Who's the New Zealander in the coaching staff?
Tony Brown?
Would you put it on Tony
100%.
Brown to teach that skill, basically?
Part of it. Within him and Sticky, I think I would put it on the both of them, recognizing that situation. But if they do, because if they start talking, because Tony Brown is in charge of the attack, and Sticky is doing some skills and whatever. So I'm saying, if they could, the both of them could come together, even actually Felix, come together, see how they can improve the ball carries of each player, because at this point we talk about it very lightly. Ball carries in international rugby, in test rugby, have become the biggest thing, because you are waiting for double tackles, which was called stopping power, waiting for you. So if you don't have that, if you don't have the dominant carries, then what do you have? We spoke about it in Wales a couple of weeks ago, about how Wales was so poor in their carries. And look where they ended. So these are the kind of conversations that have moved on in rugby, and coaches need to move on with the times.
Yeah, no, 100%. Very good discussion there regarding Jasper Wiese, Kobus Wiese, Eben Etzebeth. But in terms of Eben Etzebeth playing a full 80, I mean, I'm sure Rassie must be very pleased with that, because, I mean, Eben last played against Wales, because Wales in November. Or did he play for the Sharks? One game,
no,
but he didn't. I don't think he played.
Okay, yeah, I think he might have played for the Sharks, but I think he last represented the Springboks against Wales in last year.
Yeah. Oh. But I mean, last week we spoke about the fact that no game time, he might be a bit rusty. But I mean, Rassie alluded to the fact that we saw Eben of old last night, basically. I'm not sure. But yeah, in terms of fitness, I think he would be happy with his fitness, because I saw Sasha like gasping for air at times in that game. And I'm like, oh, he's really unfit, actually. But I mean, how long will it take, or should it take, for players to kind of gain match fitness? Do you need two more? Would the Springboks or certain players within the Springbok need another game, maybe this weekend, for example, this coming weekend, and then the following week it's kickoff at Ellis Park?
Yeah, I think Scoop, it all depends on the type of player. So if you look at, for example, if you compare Emmanuel Bok to a Sasha, Emmanuel Bok is not going to need much game time. He's going to need one game back in the mix, because he doesn't take as much contact.
Yeah.
With a player like Sasha, I don't know how many ball carries he does like on the game. So he's always smashing a defense. He's always making big tackles. So a player like that will take longer. So he'll probably need another week. Like, for example, this week should be contact fitness type of training for him.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does in the games. But in terms of Eben facing 80, having played 80 minutes, as Rassie said, I would be happy with Eben coming out unscathed in that 80 minutes. Seeing that he did actually had a lot of ball carries, I'll be happy, because one thing we know with Eben, he is the best competing line-out jumper in that first two channels.
Yeah, he's very smart as well. He reads opposition ball quite well.
You have that in your pocket, and then obviously he's very good in those charge downs and those box kicks. He's very good in that.
Yeah.
So for me, if it doesn't matter his ball carries, I don't actually need him to ball carry. You've got Lud Diago, who can still carry. He can take over the responsibility. You've got, as long as you have Eben in doing a full 80, I think as a coach you'll be very happy with it.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Kolisi is a one big concern, obviously, coming out of last night's game as well. I don't know, his hamstring, apparently. He's having issues with this hamstring. It's been weeks now, and he got pulled out, I think, around the 23rd, 24th minute of the game. how bad is it? Because I mean, you've played 15, you've played sevens, you've played international sevens. In terms of, because you guys at sevens, it's speedsters everywhere. In terms of a hamstring injury, how long should it take, or was Sia rushed back into playing a game because maybe they're trying to get him up to speed before the greatest rivalry? But in terms of hamstring injuries, those usually take a long time to like fix and be 110% for test footy.
Yeah, so Scoop, a hamstring injury is related to a load. So when we talk about loading, we talk about how much you're running, how much amount of activity you're doing. So
Yeah.
when you look at a hamstring injury, is similar to a groin injury because that's a loading issue. So
Yeah.
what they would have done is probably because Sia Kolisi was pulled out of that first game, I think was against England. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was England.
Yeah.
He was supposed to start. Him and Eben were supposed to
Yes,
start.
because they would,
Apparently, Eben had a concussion, and then
Sia
Sia
was
had
pulled out.
a
So
hamstring. Yeah.
they would have tried to save him and then try to increase the load because they would have tried to get him ready for the Argentina game because you cannot go into a New Zealand greatest rivalry without any game time. So they would have tried to increase the load. So now that basically that hamstring injury is a result of the loading that probably Sia has done. So unfortunately, when it comes to muscle injuries, no one can control it because it just depends on the type of muscle and how your body recovers in terms of that muscle. Yeah. So unfortunately, in this situation, I heard someone say is probably out for the first test. You can't call it. You can't say it's out for.
I mean, it's 14 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. You can't say it's out for because no one saw him run and pull a hamstring.
Yeah, he just I just saw him walk off the field.
He walked in. Besides walking off the field, he could have. You get a couple of injuries, hamstring injuries, muscle injuries. It's a grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, or whatever. So he could have had a grade 1. A grade 1 will take anything, a 3 days rest, and then back into action, and then obviously into game within 14 days. So we don't know how far it is, but he could have just felt it when he took one of the what you call it, the context that he did in that moment before he came off. He could have just felt something. And if you remember, a hamstring can pull like a we know when you're getting cramps as a player.
Yes, yeah.
So it's something like that when it's just cramping hard and you can't fix it because it's a hamstring, because you need your hamstring to run. So it could be something like that. We don't know. So we have to wait a little bit on this one. But for me, it's an indicator that he was a little bit loaded going into that game because they needed him to get a little bit of game time before the first test. But that doesn't mean that he can't play the first test. He could be actually recover and come back stronger, maybe with a couple of massages, needles. Who knows? It could come back and be strong.
Because you can't mention needles and Springboks in the same sentence.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, I'll say cups. Maybe it's the cups.
Woo-wee. Pew, pew. Shots fired. I know we've nibbled a bit about Sasha Vickers, but I mean, the 10 debate is still a debate amongst Springbok fans. I know we're going to get to the All Blacks a bit later on as well, and then get on to the Wallabies in Japan as well a bit later. But Mani Libok, Henry Pollard, Sasha Feinberg, Ngomezulu. We spoke about the kicks not being accurate and a bit of wind here and there, and players not being able to adjust. You also mentioned Money in terms of he doesn't need a lot of games because Mani Libok actually, I think, is very smart because I don't think people give him the the credit he deserves. Because I was looking at Sasha yesterday. I understand he's still young, he's still excited, he still wants to, he still wants to bump off players, he still wants to carry a lot, he still wants to score like blockbuster tries, Hollywood stuff. He's still at that age now where everything needs to be hyper and everything needs to be an extra level. But when you look at Money in terms of calmness, when you look at Polly in terms of calmness as well around the team, I mean, for a Sasha to be, I'm not saying Sasha should be subbed or taken out of the Bok 10 jersey. He is the number 110 in South Africa, no doubt about that. He's returning from injury, we understand. But when you get injured, because you would think, right? I mean, it's time to reflect. It's time to have a look at yourself. It's time to actually look at your games in the past and maybe how to improve those games, etc. But in terms of coming back from injury, you would think, or you would expect someone like Sasha to kind of go, you know what? We're not gaining any purchase from kicks. We're not kicking territorially. We're not kicking well with the box kicks. We're not managing this game quite well enough at the moment. As a general, I think Kobus Reinach was pretty much the guy who was the general most of that game, because if the Boks had a scrum between the 10-meter line and the 22 in their own half, the Boks will not go for a box kick. There will be one carry, and then it will be a caterpillar. And Kobus Reinach is calling all those shots, by the way. And then you'll get a line out on halfway line, and it's one bash up, and then Kobus is calling the shots in terms of, hey, we're going for a box, guys, again. And in terms of Sasha, then, I mean, what role does he play then after all of that? Because if it was Money at 10, I know Money would be calling the shots from the set piece, line out, from the scrum, especially between the 10 meters. What game plan the Boks are going to use, right? It's one guy bashes it up, caterpillar, box kick. And when we look at Money, when we look at Polly, when we look at Sasha, three different players. Because when Pollard came on, there was a bit more management and the forwards going on the front foot. And obviously the Springbok bench had played some games together in the Nations Championship. You could see the roll on. You could see the difference and the energy as well that was brought into this game. But when you look at the 310s, because, I mean, what's your take in terms of going into this great rugby's greatest rivalry? Who do you think will start the first test? And how do you see these 310s being used in the greatest rivalry?
Scoop, I think, look...
Tough question.
No, it's actually very easy, because I think you summed it up quite nicely. Look at Sasha. The biggest issue that you have with Sasha is that he is aware of himself. He knows he can do ball carries. He knows the game. He knows he can kick. When you are aware, you almost like need your 10. You almost like need your 10 to be. I'm not gonna call it scared, but like have something out of sleeve. It's like carrying a gun. It's like carrying a gun. You don't go around showing every person that you have a gun, right?
Yeah.
You walk around normally, and people will challenge you every now and then, but you never show it. Whereas with Sasha, it's literally in his chest. Sasha, we all know, if Sasha gets an opportunity to carry, he's gonna carry. He's gonna carry. If someone is rushing, Sasha will do the stepping. He will do the business. He is that kind of player, and it's the same thing as when he's on defense. If a player is coming and he's in the line, he will rush up to make the tackle. He's not trying to avoid the tackle. He's going to try and head it front on. Yeah, 100%. No one says it's bad. It's a good thing. But for a system to work, you need your 10 to be almost shy of contact. I don't know if I can explain it better. But if I can take it deeper, you as a 10, if you take contact, there are 3 forwards that were waiting to be played from you. then you take contact. That means that behind that pod, the next pod, there is no one else.
Yeah.
And you cannot...
There's no general.
There's no
available.
general to tell you what to do next. There's no one. So you almost lose that fluidity within your attack system. Whereas if you take it back to the days of Sexton, take it back to the days of Manile Bok does it very well. Whereas he's just telling the players, the forwards, carry, just take it up, and then he's telling the 9, no, go behind them. I'm ready to attack. I can see space. That's the kind of communication you need from your 10s, because that communication is letting the system flow. Yeah. Whereas with Sasha, you don't know you have a flowing system. You don't know. True. Because if he takes context, then everything is broken. The only other way, if you get Sasha to play with a Damon Willemse, or you get Sasha to play with Henry Pollard at 12, but if you get Sasha to play with maybe who was at 12 yesterday? I think it was Andre Esterhuizen. He's not going to do that.
Yeah, he was quiet.
He's not going to do that.
A lot of the players on the field.
Yes, he is more vocal because he's a 10. He's a 10. So if you lose that, how do you... I remember Scoop taking it back to my playing days. There was a guy called Ueli Mai. He played for Samoa. He spoke for 14 minutes straight. 14 minutes.
During the game.
During the game, 14 minutes. When I say he used to tell players to get up and pull their pants. He said, your pants are down, pull your pants up. He used to do that. And as a 10, you need that kind of player. And I think with Manile Bok, that's what the comfort is. So going into the rating, I think it's very difficult to rate because
we have to rate 1, 2, and 3.
No, I agree. But I would go with, if I'm going on the first test, if I want to view or to have a review of what New Zealand is bringing, I would go with Sasha. But I've got 2 tests that I can see, okay, what can I fix? Because remember, if Sasha passes that whole test, you're not going to change him. But if you go with the Manile Bok and things don't go according to plan, now you're going to scramble. But for me...
start Pollard.
No. Pollard is number 23 jersey because I'm going 6-2 every game. I'm going 6-2 every game. So Pollard
is number 2, player 23.
Yeah, Pollard is 23. I'm going 6-2 every game.
He's the modern day Stain, basically. The Stain from Blue Bulls who 100%. Came on from the bench against the Lions to kick the winning kick.
To kick the winning... he did it in the 2023 World Cup. He did exactly the same role. So don't take that away from him. Don't take that away.
I hear you.
In fact, let him embrace
23, player 23. No more 10 for Pollard anymore going forward.
No, don't even discuss starting lineup. Put him at 20. He will do the business.
Wow.
If you're starting Manile Bok, Sasha is out. If you're starting Sasha, Manile Bok is out. It's that simple.
Fair. I think we've gotten the crux of this whole chat. Now, moving on to the 9 conversation before we jump onto the All Blacks, because Mone van den Berg, he's been preferred for quite some time now by Rasta, a.k.a. Rassie Erasmus. I'm not sure. I'm still, my hat, I'm still not convinced by Mone van den Berg. He hasn't shown me that he is the next in line. He is the guy behind a Williams, behind a Reinach. I think Ambrose Papier should be the guy behind Williams and Reinach, not Mone van den Berg. I understand what Rassie's doing in terms of Monet. He's trying to build him up. He's trying to give him confidence. He can make it seems like he can make as many mistakes as he wants before he gets his head in a chopping block at this point. I mean, the box kicks from last night, appalling. The way he distributes off the deck, slow. He's trying to move bodies. I didn't see this from Reinach, but then once Monet came on, I mean, he's a bit slow. His decision making, it needs to take an extra second. Obviously, then the defensive lines are up. With Ambrose, you don't see that. Ambrose is a threat with ball in hand. He's good with his kicking. I mean, the Blue Bulls play exactly how the Springboks are playing. There's no difference. It's copy-paste what the Blue Bulls are doing at URC and what the Springboks are doing at international rugby. So for me, it's a no-brainer that Ambrose Papi, the best number 9 in URC, the best number 9 in URC, and he still can't get ahead of Monet van der Berg. But Monet van der Berg can make as many mistakes as he wants. For you personally, I mean, I know we've discussed this. We've said Ambrose is our number 1 player in this pod many a times. But what do you see, Vickers, from this Monet van der Berg? Because we haven't discussed him, we haven't dissected him enough to really go, okay, maybe there's something there. Because I remember when Faf de Klerk was chosen by Alistair Coetzee, and Faf de Klerk was nowhere at international rugby. Rassie came in, Faf de Klerk was given a template, and his game shot up from like a Faf de Klerk in 2016 and 17 versus a Faf de Klerk of 2018 and 19. Chalk and cheese, totally complete different players. Are we seeing something similar with Monet van der Berg at this moment in terms of getting that game time, getting those minutes? Because there's nothing better for a player than getting minutes and getting that experience, right, at this level. Because eventually you will clock it. You will become better. You will be a player that is experienced, mature, and has the confidence because the coach is giving you the confidence. But talk to me, Vickers. Maybe I'm talking too much.
Yeah, that's Scoop. That's a really valid point to make, and it's unfair. It's unfair to me, like you say, because we've spoken about Ambrose in this pod for the longest time. I think the most difficult for me is because we give players chances. So if you pick the number 4 winger in your starting lineup every weekend, he will eventually match the number 1 winger. Because remember, every minute, every game, you're getting experience. You're gaining confidence. You're gaining. So what is happening at the moment with Monet van der Berg is that he is going to gain momentum on papier because he is involved in that system. But if you had to look at every basic situation in those 2 players in club rugby, Papier is 10 times better. But there's something that we don't know, obviously, how the coaches feel and what the coaches see. The one person that I'm angry at, actually, I'm angry at the situation of Jaden Hengries. And I'm angry because he was the number 1 scrum-half, which was then the bench would have either been Cobus Reinach or Grant Williams. Now, if we look at those 3 scrum halves, they complement each other in every way, because the 2 that would be on the bench, which is Cobus and Grant, they are fast players. They play very fast. Then you look at Jaden. Jaden is like almost like your pillar, because he's angry. He's talking a lot to the ref. He's directing forward.
He's your Gregan.
Yeah, he's your Gregan. So you almost like have that situation where you can pick and choose who you want on the bench, but you know that your Jaden, if he's fully fit, he is going to do the business. And that's why I'm angry, is because he has let South Africa down. because he was the number one South African scrum half that everyone was happy about. And if you look at the Sharks' performance, when Grant came on, Grant wasn't. No one said Grant is better than Jaden.
Yeah,
it was a compliment to say, "Oh, now we're playing well. Now we do," because the person that held fort was Jaden. So now you are forcing one of your impact players, which is your Cobus and your Grant, to start.
Yeah.
You're forcing them to start. Then on the bench, then you are subjected to bring in a Monet van der Berg, for example, because Grant is not on. Grant is on. There's no international window, so he's with his club. The only reason he'll come back from Japan is if the Springboks actually compensate Japan and the club in Japan and let him come for those tests.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, because look, it's out of the international window.
True.
So for me, that's my thing, is that I honestly think if Monet van der Berg is in the mix on the bench for these test matches, and the game is close, I'm not sure he is the type of player to win the game. But in saying that, he has the Roygard qualities. Because remember, he also snipes. He also is strong.
Rassie compared him to Aaron Smith the other day.
Aaron hardly snipes. For Aaron to snipe, the whole N2 needed to be open. He was a distributor.
True.
He was a distributor.
The highway must be widely open. There must be no roadworks.
It's like the president is coming. Open up. That's how Aaron's
blue lights and all.
Yes, money forces it at times. He forces it because he's got the feet. Remember, he's got a good step. He's got the feet, and he's strong enough to handle the contact. And that's my problem, is that I don't know within the current Springbok game plan he fits. Because we always talk about Dupont being the driver of the French team.
Yeah.
But if you look at Luku, how
Emerson Gibson Park with Ireland as well.
Yes, exactly.
Game drivers.
I'm not sure if Monet is the driver. So if he's not the driver, then why is he being put in the driver's seat? That is the question.
Oh, fair. That is a very fair question, because you spoke about game plan and what suits Monet's game plan. If you watch the Lions in the URC, especially when they play at home, when they play away, they look dog-turd. I'm not gonna lie, but when they play at home, it's almost like it's open gates. Remember open gates, when the guy used to run towards 10 guys. If he beats them, then everyone is loose. Everyone can just run at the defense. The Lions play helter-skelter rugby. It's open gates. It's running rugby. It's broken up. And any team that travels to Ellis Park, right, they all gassed out by the 50th, 60th minute. So now Monet van der Berg kind of shines in that environment. And also within test rugby now, there's not a lot of gaps. There aren't a lot of gaps in test rugby, unless you're playing for Argentina and you're always probing, you're always pushing the boundaries, you're always chipping over, you're always spreading the ball wide to the edge, you're always bringing cutting players in, there's always players looping around. There's so many things to look at. Unless he plays for Argentina, he would probably shine in that environment. But with the box game plan, we literally dissected it earlier in terms of one hit, caterpillar, box kick. So how does he shine in an environment like that? How does he shine in an environment like that? But anyway, we'll leave it there, because unless you've got one more point to add on this discussion.
No, you said it all, bro. You said it all. I think you're spot on. That's the last question that you ask is a question that I'm not even going to talk about Bok fans. I'm talking about rugby people. That last question because that is very important in terms of understanding for the selection.
True. Fair. 100%. 110%. The All Blacks. Discipline and set piece. My goodness. My goodness. Yes, the All Blacks have arrived in South Africa. Let me not even say traveled. They've arrived in South Africa. They've had a week to prepare. They've had a week to get some cohesiveness. One of the big talking points in New Zealand's game is discipline, obviously. High penalty count. High penalty count against the Stormers, against a club side. This is very important because under Foster, there were a lot of yellow cards, which seemed to be New Zealand's downfall. Under Razor, playing against the Springboks in 2024, All Blacks in the last 20, in the last quarter, copying yellow cards against the Springboks. Springboks get ascendancy. They win both games in Johannesburg and in Cape Town because of yellow cards. Anton Leonard-Brown missed a yellow card himself. Again, a yellow card against the Stormers. This has been my concern when it comes to Anton Leonard-Brown, is his discipline. And unfortunately, he copped another yellow. He was fine in the Nations Championship. Had no issues with him. No yellow cards there. But he did eventually have a decent game. I understand a lot of players haven't played. Your Tossies, the front row, a few players in the backs, first combinations. Understand everything will be rusty, but discipline is a main point. Defending mauls was a problem, was an issue. And we spoke about Jason Ryan. He's one of the best when it comes to defending mauls, because I think even in 2024, Springboks couldn't maul against the All Blacks when Jason Ryan got brought in. 2023, Springboks couldn't maul against the All Blacks. But now with the new law changes, you're not allowed to go past the ball. You almost have to be like in a horn. The cow horns, basically how they're shaped. So it's almost like an arc. So if you hit, now you've got one guy on the side, you've got two guys in the middle, and you have to lock in. You have to try as a defending players, you have to try and get through the seam. You have to try and get through the players that are lifting in the line out. When they bring that player down, the player that's jumping, get between those players to defend a maul accurately. But then you have to put your body on the line, because the guy that's being brought down, his bum, when he gets brought down, his bum usually hits the guy's heads that are defending, or the guy's shoulders, depending on your timing, on how you connect and hit in those defensive elements. But that's just a more defensive pattern. Vickers, what do you make of this game, actually? First game out, Stormers obviously have had time to prepare. People are talking about, it's still preseason. The games were announced last year, October, in terms of fixtures. So there's no point in saying, no, this is preseason. As soon as the Stormers were kicked out of URC semi-final, they knew what period to set. They knew what timetable to set to prepare for this All Blacks game. So there's no, this is preseason, this and that. These are internationals. These people are getting paid. This is their 9 to 5, basically. Like me and you, who go to the office on Monday to Friday from 9 till 5 p.m., this is what these guys do for rugby. Anyway, Vickers, your thoughts on this game in terms of Stormers and the All Blacks?
Yeah, you make some key points in terms of the structure of the defending the maul. But let's just take a few steps back. First things first, this game was not for the Stormers. They're going to take it and squash it. Because what are you analyzing it for? It's got nothing to do with your season. It's got nothing to do with your plans going forward. So, so for them, it was just a show. They could come out and give New Zealand a good run, and they did.
Exhibition match.
Yeah, that's it. It's an exhibition match. So I think for us to look at the pod in terms of the Stormers, I think it's unfair to say, okay, the Stormers came with this plan. No, Stormers were just having fun, They're just having fun. And the fun was allowed by New Zealand because they are the main team that are playing next week. So if we look at that and we take away, there was a penalty in the in the Stormers 22. They were receiving or whatever the word penalty. They kick for touch. They mold with the 5 men. They got a penalty. They kick for touch. They mold with the 5 men. With the 4 men, they got a penalty. Got into the 22. They mold. They eventually scored after like 6 or 7 molds. But now let's look at that for New Zealand. That you do that against South Africa, you are basically strangling your own self. You're committing suicide. Because remember, if you score, you kick off, you cause a penalty, they drive more. You cause a penalty, they drive. So it's like a ripple effect of whatever you're going to do. So the only thing I'm going to say, if New Zealand are serious about rugby, they need to start thinking. No, I'm being honest. Wow. Remember, this is the greatest rivalry. This is what you need to actually say, guys, hold on. Let's rather give them whatever they want, but not a scrum and not a line-out.
Not a maul. Yeah, not line-out maul.
Simple. Yeah. Give them, if they want to attack, let them attack. We actually here. We're here for it. Guys, come through.
Let's run.
Yeah, let's run. Let's show us your running rugby. Show us your running rugby. But not a set piece. Because a set piece will set you apart.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's quite straightforward when it comes to analysis of this game, literally. I mean, I think you've summed it up accurately in terms of, for Stormers, they didn't have to do much here. Yes, the guys were crying during national anthem. I don't even know why the Stormers are getting a national anthem. Let's be honest.
That's a very good question. I actually asked myself why. But
why are they getting a national anthem?
Maybe
seriously.
New laws, I don't know.
No. Fair enough. But one sticking point regarding this game is the penalty try, because obviously we have our own views regarding this, and I've had a few discussions with a few officials about it as well. But I mean, it can be seen, it's 50-50 from what I've been told by some guys that are officiating in these internationals. But regardless, I think I still believe that is not a penalty try for me. Geland gets tackled short, obviously, with momentum. He's moving forward. Their bodies go over the try line. So the goal line now doesn't have any more jurisdiction when it comes to tackle on the ground, rolling over, etc. You can be held up over the goal line. So at the end of the day, saying Morby is playing the ball on the ground is a bit steep, or pushing the narrative, because his torso is over the goal line, his limbs are on the playing area. So for me, I mean, we are over the goal line, is held up, let's move on. Because Geland is also supposed to place the ball, first and foremost. And nobody's talking about Preston, the primary tackler. Because, but what?
Sorry, Scoop. I think the simplest thing you have to say, it's not a high tackle. Because remember, this is defined in the book. It's a safety belt.
Safety belt tackle, yeah, 100%.
A safety belt is a penalty.
Yes.
A safety belt is not a yellow card. A safety 100%. Belt is not a penalty try. Because if a safety belt is a penalty try, or let me say, if a safety belt is a penalty yellow card, then it's a safety belt a penalty try.
Penalty try, 100%.
So when we look at the laws, that is the first thing we do. It was a safety belt in the infield.
100%.
So it's not supposed to be a penalty try. It's supposed to be a penalty. 5 meters out, 100% 5 meters out. We kick.
Yes.
Then you can kick for touch. Let's play. But for you to award a penalty on a safety belt, because remember, that's why I always said the problem with the rugby laws is that a lot of laws are overlapping with stupidity. What is a safety belt? Why do you call it a safety belt instead of just calling it a high tackle?
High tackle.
Yeah, instead of calling it, it's if there's a high tackle on the field, the level of danger is either a penalty or a yellow card.
Yeah, it's high degree of danger or low degree of danger.
Then let's take it from
to mitigate the situation.
So why do we try to be smart and say it's a safety belt? No one cares, because at the end of the day,
it's high.
Yeah, it's high. So,
around the neck. Let's move on.
Absolutely. It's the same thing as a tip tackle. We said it's a tip tackle. If you lift, it doesn't matter if the player's legs stay
beyond horizontal. Yeah,
it's a tip tackle. That's what I'm saying.
It's dangerous.
So it's dangerous. So why are you saying that it's a tip tackle if his legs go over 90 or was it 90 or 50, whatever it is?
Yeah.
But
beyond horizontal.
Beyond horizontal. What the hell is that? So that's the problem with rugby that we have, is that there's so many laws that are so useless in terms of just making it very simple, no gray area, just simple. But
because I can already tell you are having a lot of issues as a coach with the referee.
No. My problem is that, Scoop, I look at the law book and I try to study the law book and I try to do things within the law book. But remember, I'm also trying to manipulate the law book.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm
any coach.
I'm trying my best. So I mean, I'm in the boat now. I'm saying that what a smart idea of this new trend of the player running backwards to try and catch the ball and no one is impeding.
Yeah. Did you see Argentina last night even?
Now, yes, exactly. So now I'm the winger who's got 5 meters ahead of your winger, and I'm telling you as a box box it, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, box it, I'm ready.
Come up, Reina.
Yeah.
Scope him.
I will chase with your wing. I'm going to run with your wing. I'm going to run with your guy.
And you can bump him off, shoulder to shoulder.
Angle. Yeah, we're going to become the same angle. See, you can't win the ball above me.
Now you nullified the whole contest.
The whole contest. Only because there was a law that was made and people tried to find a way and people...
There's always a way.
Exactly. So
there's always a way.
That's my thing. Anyway, Scoop, I think when we look at the New Zealand game again, New Zealand tried to run out of their 22.
Own 22, yeah.
Own 22.
They're trying to play with optimism, apparently.
That's for me. No, I don't even think so. I think it's too... You almost like... Have you heard of the saying that the best practice is the game, right? They are trying to practice.
Oh, yeah, fair.
In case they need it. Because if a game needs to be won and you're receiving a kickoff, or you have you're in your 22 with a set piece, it's trying to win that game. Especially because, again, if you look at the Stormers' defense and you look at the Springbok defense, not much into it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's barring one or two.
It's high line speed and just pressure throughout. Yeah.
Pressure. And I think a lot of that came from the fact that, okay, guys, these players defend like the Springboks, forcing the passes. Yes, it's not going to go well. We know it's not going to go well, but force it. Let's see if we can beat that rush defense. The worst part was that Argentina knocked on the last ball in the final minute of the game when they could have drawn the game with the rush defense coming hard. And the only thing they needed was pass one. So what I'm saying is that a lot of teams now are starting to realize that we can actually beat that rush defense from the outside in. And I think New Zealand is part of that. It was trying to get the players to understand that this is a possibility. Obviously, with the different personnel, it might even go differently, or it might even go worse, if you can call it like that. But it's a matter of trying. It's a matter of trying and putting into practice, so that you have the video, so that you can review, so that you know, because the defense system is not going to. The only thing that will change is the better of the New Zealand team will become better, and the South African team is not going to change their defense structure.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said earlier, Rassie is his focus for Argentina was that defensive element to make sure you put pressure, because Argentina, yes, with ball in hand, probably do play like a Scotland and New Zealand, trying to run, having players coming around, having players loop around, kind of creating screenplays, etc. So yeah, I mean, Rassie just put so much emphasis on this conversation around defense against Argentina. But yeah, moving on, Vickers, Billy Proctor is moving. Oh, he's flying back to New Zealand today, unfortunately. I saw he got cleaned out by Neetling Forshire at the breakdown. Copped one on the shoulder. Oof. And he looked like he was in massive pain during the game. And now he's flying back to New Zealand. Who is Dave Rennie calling? Duplessis Karifi? Lester Fainganuku? Because apparently he's slowly getting back. Richie Mo'unga.
Yeah, we both know the answer to the question. It's Richie all the way, bro. You know the funniest thing is that
attention, all passengers. Richie Mo'unga is the last call for final boarding. Attention, all customers. He's at the airport. He's in Auckland at the moment.
If you remember, Scoop, Rassie left and I think Mapimpi behind in 2023. I mean, we all knew that. Okay, at the end of the day, these guys didn't play the best rugby leading up to the World Cup, but they were World Cup winners. Yeah, and Richie is not a World Cup winner, but he is your best 10. In fact, I would even go behind his Carter. I would even go as far as he skips Bowden Barrett. That's how high I would rate him. No, but that's how high I would rate the guy. So if you get an injury, which is again, we might see an injury on Tuesday against the Sharks. We might see another injury against the Bulls. So the Bulls. So there's a lot of these are the tough tours that you go through when you go to another nation in terms of the rivalries. So for me, that's the thing, is that how is it that it's a backline player and he doesn't need a 13?
He doesn't, because Rico can slot in there, right? He's played there. That's what I was thinking this morning. I'm like, actually, Rico can just slot in here, because I mean, Dave Rennie did say, Rennie said in his press conference. There's also Anton, but Anton Leonard Brown, because I don't know, it's not the same anymore.
Scoop.
He is a 13, but it's not the same anymore, man.
No, but he was man of the match the other day.
I don't understand how he was man of the match on Saturday.
I've got questions as
well. With Peter Lakai, who was making meters all day and tackles all day. No, man. I don't know. I don't know the people that choose these things, actually. I've given up on man of the match and things like that, because it doesn't make sense. Because I feel like now we're trying to get into this TikTok and Instagram. We are purists. I just want pure guys getting man of the match. Remember in URC,
the commentators
usually say are scanning.
It's the most name they've said, but his name was mentioned when he was getting.
And he got a yellow card, man. Come on.
Exactly. But anyway,
guys.
Look, Scoop. I mean, again, it's those players. When you look at just the personnel that New Zealand had. Yeah. I think for me, Obviously, Carter came out with flying colours, so he should be definitely starting. I will go as far as who's the new guy who got a yellow card? The one who scored his debut try, because he wasn't bad. It was a Mosley or Moody or
Joe Moby.
Moby.
I mean, Moby.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think if you look at him and you look at Clark should start against. I don't even know the starting lineup against the Sharks anyway.
Oh no! Wait, because I can read it.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
We've got the starting lineup for the All Blacks. The All Blacks. Dave Rennie mentioned it today, but I couldn't hear what they were saying in his press conference because, hey man, the audio was a bit terrible in today's naming of the team. But where did I put this thing now? All Blacks. Come on. Okay, you've got Ethan de Groot at 1, Amour at 2, you've got Fletcher Newell at 3, you've got Josh Lord at 4, Sam Derry at 5, Tupou Vai at 6, key one, Luke Jacobson at 7, Wallace Satiti at 8, Kyle Preston, his first start, Ruben Love at 10, Caleb Clark at 11, Jordy Barrett at 12, Quinn Tupaya at 13, Fehi Faina Nganofo. Fucking Ingana number. Damien McKenzie at 15, and then you've got the new guy Slater, who's hooker cover, and then Norris, who also came off the bench against the Stormers. Tossie, who was struggling at scrum time against the Stormers, he started that game. Ethan Blackadder is coming off the bench again, and then the new guy, Loa, the 8th man that they brought from Moana Pacifica. You've got Roy God at 21, and then Tavanawai, the backup 12. Or 13 if you prefer. And then you've got Imoni Narrower. That is the full lineup for this game.
Scoop, we said last week, Dave Rennie will play his starting first test team in against
Durban.
the Sharks.
Yeah.
We said it because it's the number of days leading up to the first test.
Yeah.
But he's happy with Roy God being on the bench because there's
he knows.
no need.
He can't risk it.
He knows what he has.
He can't risk it for the biscuit.
Yes. He is happy about starting Sititi because Xavier is not there. He's been given.
I think he lands on the Blue Bulls weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. Then, if you look at that, yes, maybe the hooker position as well, but you can't play Cody Taylor.
No, he's still carrying a niggle, the calf muscle issue.
See, for me, this team that he's selected is basically the test team for week 1. That is the test team, and it's going to be. That's why for me, we talk about all these things about the small coaching cues and all of that, but it goes back to the original of high performance sport. It goes back to what are the norms, because the norms are this: you have to play your team before the first test, and I think if you look at the Springbok team and if you look at the New Zealand team, you can already see the similarities. Because if you look at the backs for the Springbok team, I think bringing in Cheslin Colby, bringing in obviously Arendse, looking at the same as Damon Delender, they had enough game time in the championship, in the Nations Championship. So there's no need to play them. But a player like Fassi needed a test. A player like Kobus Reinach needed to play.
Does Fassi really need a test?
He needs one because let's be honest. If Fassi doesn't start, he's not in the team. He's not in the match day 23 because your number 15, it's either Damon Willemse or it's Fassi. There's no Damon Willemse can push towards the bench, but Fassi cannot push towards the bench. So that's
True.
the thing, is that for me,
Actually, I've never seen him come off the bench.
yeah,
actually,
exactly.
fussing.
So that's the thing, is that I think with this New Zealand lineup, it actually makes life very interesting, because now, if you pick up an injury now,
Oh, you've got time to recover, no?
you got
Unless
time,
it's like a
unless
Proctor
it's like
injury.
a Proctor.
Yeah.
And Proctor was doing well, bro. Proctor was prominent. Proctor was number 113.
Really? Yeah, he's getting a lot of slack from New Zealand fans.
Solid.
And Jade. Unfortunately, Jade can't join, but yeah, it would
Proctor-
have been a very heavy discussion.
Proctor doesn't do bad things. A lot of times he does good things, maybe one bad thing, because if you remember, Proctor knocked on, I think he knocked on 1 or 2, but he is solid when it comes to
He's a workhorse.
He's a workhorse.
That's one thing I've noticed in terms of what he does at 13. His work rate, getting up, like repeated efforts. For
Conrad
example,
Smith.
making one tackle,
Conrad
getting up,
Smith.
you making the next tackle, the third tackle, fourth tackle, all in one sequence, right? But people don't appreciate those things. They want to see the razzle dazzle. They want to see making line breaks, offloading to the wing, assist passes, cutting back inside, all the fancy stuff, right? But Proctor's, I don't think he's very flashy when it comes to internationals, but when it comes to Hurricanes, he's been prominent. Like he's flashy with Hurricanes, but still does the work, the dirty work as well.
He is the dirty work. It's Jesse Creel. It's Conrad Smith.
True.
It's Proctor. Those guys are in the same category. They're not going to be flashy, but they're going to work on the ground.
Wanda just made a comment. No ways Proctor starts over Quinn at test level.
Yeah, but he would be. Isn't Tobias? He would be on the bench for 12.
He's 13 for this Sunday for the Sharks. Tobias. It's Barrett and Tobias. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Noni will be coming off the bench because you're ready to bounce. Oh no.
Proctor was fit. Proctor starts. Tupaya is a cover for 12.
But clearly they see Jordie Barrett as 12 for New Zealand, which is crazy.
No,
but nonetheless, we know Richie Mo'unga is fly. He has to. That's the breaking news for this coming week. Richie Mo'unga flying to South Africa. He'll join the team in Durban on Wednesday or Tuesday. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the Richie, because the way the All Blacks are playing now, I think he fits in perfectly in that mold. He fits in accurately with the running rugby. I know there's a lot of talk about Ruben Love. Yes, there's a lot of promise in Ruben Love. I think against Ireland, I saw a more reserved kind of Ruben Love in terms of letting Jordie Barrett dictate play around the park. He was happy to just catch and pass. He was happy to kick 50-22s. I'm happy with that. That's proper game management, or managing yourself. When you look back at the conversation we've had today about the fly off, or the 10 conversation regarding Money, Pollard, and Sasha, I think Ruben Love played 3 good tests, and you could see different styles from him. He almost played like a mature guy in those 3 tests. But at the same time, having Richie coming off the bench maybe to replace a Ruben Love, I mean, he's kicking accurately. He's at a 90% in terms of goal kicks. So he is in a good position. And I think I like the style of it. Yeah?
Would you rather not have Ruben Love wearing the 22 jersey? Because he can cover 15 and 10.
Ooh. It's a tough one, because I still want to see him like be under pressure at with the 10 jersey. I still want to see him drive the game. I still want to see him have the confidence, or build the confidence of a 10. You're right. I mean, I think the greatest rivalry, this tour, is perfect to see how far he is, or how well established he will be in that and comfortable in that 10 jersey. We know what Richie Mwanga can give, because I think we've seen what Richie Mwanga can do, but we haven't seen Richie Mwanga with a good forward pack at international level. We've seen what he can do with a good forward pack at Crusaders. We've seen what he can do with a good forward pack in Japan. I mean, he won back-to-back and then didn't win this year in Japan League One. But if the All Blacks now are to have a very good forward pack, I think Richard Mwanga off the bench, man, it's fireworks. It's fireworks. Also, with the Ruben Love as well.
So,
I think Ruben Love with a good forward pack, we've seen what he can do. He's really like maturing into that 10. But yeah, it's a very good question in terms of Ruben Love wearing the 22 jersey or Richard Mwanga starting with the 10 jersey. That's a very good question. But
so
I
there's
still
a,
want to see Ruben Love under pressure. I still want
so,
to get frustrated with him making mistakes and be like, oh, he looks like Bowden Barrett at the moment, because Bowden Barrett, my goodness.
so that was my next question. So obviously, the greatest rivalry is bragging rights. It's got nothing to do with the World Cup honor, if I can call it
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's just bragging rights. So let's look at
For
it this
both
way.
teams.
So are you saying that Bowden Barrett should play midweek games?
100%. Leo Indoyona, I can't even. I am not even going to mince my words, because I'm sorry. Man, oh man. I mean, Friday, for crying out loud. Everyone in New Zealand has been talking about how experienced he is, 130 odd test caps, you know. Um, I don't know, man. I'm out of words, because, like, literally, when it's time to talk about Bowden Barrett, I know there are big fans, like your Chalens on the timeline, that promote Jordie Barrett narratives. It's all good and well. I mean, I'm not disrespecting the guy. He's done a lot, right? When he came onto the scene, he was fireworks. He was Hollywood. He was blockbuster. He was box office, right? But over time, right? I mean, you get old. And I think once you get old, you probably need to adjust your game plan, because once Rassie and Ninaba put pressure on him in terms of rush defense, high line speed, Bowden Barrett struggled to move on from that. The Lions came to New Zealand in 2017. They put high line speed, they put pressure on the All Blacks. Bowden Barrett struggled to get that backline moving. And since then, you can see how his game kind of became stagnant. It plateaued. He couldn't get anywhere. He couldn't get ascendancy. He couldn't come up with different playbooks, to actually see a way through a rush defense. Yes, we might say he came up with the kick cross or kick pass, etc. Yes, he did that a lot. 2016, he did that a lot. 2017, he did that a lot. But people found him out eventually. I mean, on Friday, we saw a lot of kick passes that were not accurate. It's like the Stormers knew that at some point he will try and kick. And then there were aerial contestables. There was one where he really didn't even commit. And I'm like, bro, show some heart. Like, put an effort. There's thousands of people watching this. Like, put your heart into it. I'm sorry, man. At this level, can you show some heart? Can you show us it means something to be an All Black for you? It means something to put on the jersey. It's no use talking about it and promoting it on Instagram and making a big fuss and a big woo-ha, but on the field, it's a different attitude. I'm sorry, but Bowden Barrett needs to be called out for this one, because there's no point in saying he's got 150 or 100 and 200 caps. I don't care. Show me that you can do it. Show me that you want to do it. Show me that you can put on this black jersey and prove to the rest of the team even. I don't know how the teammates look at this. When you analyze the game, what do you say when a player is not even committing to a jump? What do you say to a player who's almost looks afraid at times? And I'm like, what are you doing, man? And then you get a Dave Rennie in the post-match interviews or in presses saying that Jody Barrett is training properly, he's giving 100%, he's doing XYZ, but then it comes to a game time against a club team, URC. Aye, come on, give me a break, give me a damn break.
No,
Anyway,
I think Scoop, you're right in terms of just how obviously at the moment the question begs to say, are they trying to get him to 150? Are they trying to get him to the next World Cup? Are they trying to use the same strategy that South Africa's used with who was the hooker again for the Springboks? Brits. They tried to use the same concept with who was the hooker again from the Stormers, man? The flanker from the Stormers, what's his name? Dion Forey. I mean, and Dwayne van Mierlen. Yes, those are the names I'm thinking of. So are they trying to use that same concept for Bowden? But for me, like you say, Scoop, then I don't see him, especially on the field. I'm going to be honest. I'm saying I'm watching purely from the field. I've seen leadership on the field. I've seen people talk and direct things on the field.
Yeah.
I've never seen it from him. I've never seen it. So I'm making my point of view from what I'm purely seeing on the field is that he's not the guy to be directing and leading off the field. That's what I'm saying. Maybe there's something deeper we don't know. I don't know actually. But I'm saying purely because all the guys that we're talking about now, easily could take the captainship, the captain's jersey and wear it with ease. But with Bowden, I don't see it. So if he's not going to start, if he's not going to be in the match day 23, then what is the reason
to have him there?
Then it takes me
I mean,
to that
Razor did the same thing with who's the guy who copped a red card again in 2023? Sam Kane.
Sam Kane, yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, they were trying to get him to 100 caps, and if once he got the 100 caps, he never started again. And you know, this sentiment thing can can either make or break you. We need to be honest. At international level and at this level, you're trying to win games, but there's also this sentiment thing as well. It's almost like you're at school for some reason. You know, when there's that dad that's sponsoring the first team and he's giving bags and things like that or booking flights, and now all of a sudden this one kid has to start in the first team for no particular reason. It's not rugby related, can tell you that much, you know. So this thing of this sentimental thing that keeps happening at this level, it can be a concern for New Zealand because I don't think it's rugby related at this point because yeah, man, and people talk about the All Blacks and the coaching staff being quite stern this time around, but I mean these are the things I would like them to be stern on, you know, like really put their foot down on these things. But unfortunately, maybe New Zealand rugby as well is like, hey, man, you can't get rid of this guy. We're paying him. We can't just pay him to sit at home and play NPC rugby, you know? He needs to be part of the squad as well. So maybe there's also those other issues in the background. But anyway, because before we stray too far away, let's maybe close it off with Wallabies and Japan. We watched this game on Saturday. We were having quite a few conversations in terms of what Japan is producing on the field, in terms of what Eddie Jones' game plan is regarding, like, Japan don't like to fall with the ball or kill the ball on attack. There's a lot of offloading in contact, which was quite impressive because that put Australian defense in tatters. And also Australians are not making very dominant tackles in this game. And I see that they took what's his name from New Zealand, the guy who was working under Fozzie as their defensive coach, and Fozzie had to eventually fire him in 2022 after losing to Ireland. So I don't know why Australia or Les Kiss would choose this guy or pick this guy as his defensive coach, but it's one thing that's been alarming for Australia for the past 10 to 15 years: Australian defense. But talk to me, because what you thought about Japan and the Wallabies.
Yeah, Scoop. So, I mean, the only post to see about the Wallabies is the signing of players. That's basically it. We see that online every day. So for me, that says a lot about what is happening at the moment within Australian rugby. But if you look at just the game in terms of, like you say, Japan play actually beautiful rugby. We all know Eddie Jones always moves on with times within his teams. He at some point he was coming the ruck to ruck system with England, because he had big players, the Vunipolas, and he had the what is the Samoan guy again, the center 12. So he's always had that, and then he moved to Australia. He tried to do the same principle, but it didn't work. So now you're in the situation where you got Japan, small guys. So he's trying to avoid contact a lot. He's trying to avoid contact. And I think with me, what I'm saying is that he's trying to avoid contact because he's got the fast movement of the players. And again, it's going to go back to his fitness training, fitness coach. How much fitness are they doing, and how much fluidity are they doing? With Leach getting onto the field for 20 minutes, how much fitness, all of those become a factor. Because I don't think, obviously, Japan is not trying to win the World Cup, but Japan is just trying to go through to quarterfinal, because that's massive for their rugby. So yeah, so for me, I think Eddie's just I'm not gonna say he's sitting on the fence, because he doesn't have a fence in terms of that. He's got a risk that he's seeing, but he just wants to upset one big team. And I think
that's why I was saying France could be that team for him.
Yes, because this one weekend, like last weekend, he wanted to see how far he can push Australia. And like you say, Scoop, France could be that one team. He just wants, because that's what he did against 2015 against the Boks.
Against Springboks, yeah. He targets one game to make big noise.
One game to make it, just to make noise and give it. And then always remember, once he makes the noise, he's coining it. The union is coining it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a pure.
It becomes flavor of the month.
100%, and everyone respects him. Yeah, so I think it suits Japan because he's got a certain type of personality that fits with the Japanese guys. Yeah. And then that's what I've learned in me working in China, is that when I worked with South Africans and I worked with Russians, my personality changed. My personality changed. And when I'm working now with Chinese guys, my personality has changed again. It has to flip. I'm not talking about my personality as a person. I'm talking about my coaching personality. So that flips. It has to, because you're dealing with different kinds of different cultures and different kind of personalities within that culture, not necessarily with. Look, for example, in South Africa, you got South Africans, you got colored black, white, Afrikaner. That's the kind of difficulty you have to deal with. But you are South African. But now, in another different country, you're dealing with a German in his personality, different personality, but you are a different personality. So he's Australian. He's dealing with Japanese, but Japanese have different cultures within Japan.
Isn't he mixed, Eddie Jones?
I can't remember.
I think he's half Japanese, if I'm not mistaken.
But
I can quickly check as well.
But also, but Scoop, in saying that, is that at the end of the day, he's an Australian born. He's Australian. He's through and through because he's there. So for me, it's like he understands their culture, and that's why they love him. And that's why they can...
Yeah, his mother was Japanese, Australian dad.
100%. So he can now, he understands their culture and they relate to him because of that. And they will never, yes, he will leave, but I don't see them firing him because, I mean, he's left the job. They brought him back.
And then they brought him back.
They put him on the bench. They put him on the bench because he said something about the ref. But I don't think they were crying. I think they were like, no, we have to do this for World Rugby. Like that's like the conversation we had. Like, listen, bro, sit out. We're gonna put out a pressure to say, like, that's how I feel they do with him. So
yeah, true. I think he can get away with anything in Japan. I feel like he can do whatever he wants. I mean, for example, he's employed full time with Japanese rugby, right? But at the same time, he's doing gigs with ITV in England. Exactly. He's doing gigs with the BBC. And I'm like, how on earth is this guy based in Japan, flying back and forth, and he's got a full-time job as an international coach? It's quite strange. But anyway, it's Eddie Jones. But anyway,
like we're talking about this. So I think like we're talking about, okay, let's not stray away a little bit. But I'm saying the game against Australia, they could have won. Australia was poor. But I'm not fighting against Australia because I'll say this. There will never be an international coach that will come in 2 weeks and make miracles. It's impossible. Yeah, I know. It's impossible. Fair. So let's kiss some break, and maybe against Argentina, because that's who they will be playing in the next couple of weeks as well, while South Africa and New Zealand are facing off in the greatest rivalry. So maybe we can start judging around end of the year tour, because he's still finding his feet, right? He still needs to know what works and what doesn't work in his coaching group, in his team personnel, in his starting lineups, etc. That was a question, Vickers. Vickers, are you still there? He's gone. I think might as well close it from here onwards, guys. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on this. It was pretty much long, actually. Almost 1 hour, 30 minutes. Anyway, but thanks, guys, for joining us. Thanks for listening in. The pod will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and obviously there won't be any visuals. It'll be on YouTube as just audio if you don't have Apple Podcast or Spotify. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy your Sunday evening. This is the Rugby Scoop. Cheers, guys. Bye. Have a good week ahead. See you next week. Sunday again. Cheers. Bye-bye.